Hello, guys. I hope you're doing well. Today, we are starting chapter 2 on nutrition facts label, a very interesting class. Once again, if you took the food and nutrition class English with me last semester, it's going to be much easier. But this semester, I'm giving more details and we'll do more exercise on this one. So I really want you to be careful, especially if you're taking this class for the first time. But don't worry, it is not difficult. You just have to be very, very careful about the things that I am showing you. Basically, I'm showing you how to read the nutrition facts label so that when you go to the market, when you buy your food, you know what to expect. So let's not waste our time here. I'm just going to share my screen with you immediately. And let's just see what we have. Okay. So, so you have our second chapter here. Let me just go quickly. The nutrition facts label, you have this PPT, so I will not spend a lot of time on this section. What I would like you to know in terms of the nutrition facts label, basically you will have the product name, the list of ingredients on it, okay? They will also give you the shelf life if you want the expiry date, all right? So for today, I have a series of food that I will show you. And when we talk about the expiry date, for example, if I talk about this food, right, you will see the expiry date on it telling you when you still maybe stop eating the food. It will also tell you the instruction how to actually use the food, all right? Sometimes you have to recook the food, okay? The weight of the product, very, very important. You need to see that, all right? So name and address of the manufacturer, the people who made the food, you'll see that as well. Storage instructions. This is very important. We talk about food safety, all right? So if you don't store the food well, the food will turn bad. And when you eat it, guess what happened? You become sick. So be careful about it. And of course, you'll have the country of origin. They will tell you where the product is made. For example, I have this product here, all right? The mustard, the Dijon. And if you look at it, you will see the French flag on it. So this one is actually made in France. All right. So let's keep going here. So we're gonna go directly into this page. I will put it on the big screen here. So we have basically two groups of food. All right. We have what we call the whole food. The whole food, no label is necessary. So the whole food, there is no change. An example of whole food is what we have here. We have a tomato. An example of whole food, all right, we have our orange. All right, an example of a whole food, I have a lot here. So you have our paprika here. So this type of food, you don't need the label here. Basically you will just see the name, only the name of the product. You can also see, for example, in this case, the name of the company and where the product was made. But when I talk about label, they don't necessarily tell you what is inside the food. All right. So here you're going to have the name of the company, where the food was made and things like that. That's all you're going to have. Now, if we talk about a food product, okay, a food product is different. We need a label for that case. So One of the foods that we're going to see today, hopefully we have the time to see everything. We're going to see, for example, this oatmeal, all right? So in this one, you're going to need a food label. Another food that we're going to check is this canned mackerel ball, all right? So this one too, you are going to need a food label. Very important. So I put here that these food labels, you're going to have some ingredients telling you what is inside the food, all right? They will tell you, I have sugar, carbohydrates, protein. We studied these nutrients last week. So we will be looking at, do we have these nutrients? And remember what I told you, at the end of the day, we always have to check very important things here when we look at the nutrition foods label. So the concept that we have in our mind is what we studied last week. We talk about daily value. And then we may compare it later on with our dietary reference intake. All right, so let's go quickly. Now, for me, every time I look at a food label, I always check for sugar. For this class, please, I'm going to focus on what? One, sugar, all right? So for this class, we will focus on sugar, all right? That's number one. So number two here, we look at sodium, all right? Okay, so we look at iron. Remember, we talk about iron anemia, iron deficiency anemia. So we're going to look at iron. And remember, for this nutrition class, when we are about to finish, we'll study the life cycle nutrition in pregnancy. This is why this iron part is going to be very important when we look at the nutrition of a pregnant woman. All right, and I will also look at this last nutrient, calcium. All right, we look at it even in a nutrition life cycle, calcium for children, and mostly you see calcium for older people, all right, over 50 years and more. So number one, when I look at the ingredients, I look at sugar here. Very important. We're going to talk about the daily value. Just know, like I told you, that the percentage, the daily value is how much nutrient you are actually getting in your system. The dietary reference intake is how much you need. So some people send me messages regarding that. Please, my friend, I want you to know the difference between daily value and dietary reference intake. Okay? So when we look at sugar on this table, you know, we pay very attention, for example, to children, you know, and I would like you to understand this. The dietary reference intake, for example, I look at the recommendation that we have for the World Health Organization, okay? So the World Health Organization will recommend 25 grams of sugar every day. Okay, so, but if you look at this table here, what do we see? We see that a glass of orange juice already has 25 grams of sugar. Okay, so this is where we have the alert. Remember that in chapter 1, we say that we have to eat for nutrition reason. We have to eat for health. So we have to be very, very careful. A bowl of cereal with chocolate, it's already 25 grams of sugar. Okay? So from the statistics that I have, we have to be careful. This is why we have to be careful when we talk about daily value and dietary reference intake. And you will see that on the food label, you don't see the percentage, daily value. Okay. So I'll come back to explain it a little bit more. A piece of bread has 15 to 25 grams of sugar. Jam has 10 to 15 grams of sugar. So we are actually eating a lot of sugar. What did we learn in chapter 1? In chapter 1, we know that sugar are what? They're part of what? Of the carbohydrates. Okay? So if they are part of the carbohydrate, then we know that 1 gram of sugar, okay, is going to give me how many kilocalories? 1 gram of sugar is going to give me 4 kilocalories. Okay. So if I take the example of USA, in average, American eat what? 17, teaspoons of sugar every day. 17 teaspoons is about what? Is about 71.4 grams of sugar. So how many calories do I have from 71.4 grams of sugar? I have around 270 kilocalories. That's too much. So what do we say? We say that, okay, the World Health Organization is telling us to eat an average of 25 grams of sugar. Of course, it's changing. We say, okay, men can eat up to 38 grams, women 25, children 2 to 18 years old, less than 25 grams. So what is the challenge here? Okay, if we talk about how much sugar we're eating. So when we eat the food, we have to check how much sugar we have in that food. So I'm eating already here 270 kilocalories. But what is the average of energy we need every day? Remember, chapter 1, we say we need an average of 2,000 kilocalories. Okay? So if you do now, you already have 270 divided by 2,000 kilocalories. This is already over 10%. The World Health Organization is telling us up to 5%. All right? So again, let's be very careful about it when we're going to look at the food label and what we have there. Okay, so let me move on now. When you buy the food at the store, this is how it will look like behind. Okay, like I told you, I have, for example, this oatmeal, and then here we're going to have the food label. We'll do this example later on during the class. So what should you look for when you check your food label? So you look at very important information here. You see, I gave, you have here all the details from 1 to 6. Number 1, you start here, serving size. Serving size, 1 cup, 228 grams. Okay? The serving size is usually how much people are eating. Okay? So we have to be very careful with this one. Serving per container, 2. What does it mean? We have serving size, 1 cup, 228 grams. Serving per container, 2. All right. Let me explain this. All right. So I need a whiteboard here. So my friends, please understand this part. Please understand this. So you have your food here. This is your food. The food give you one serving size, okay? And the food also gives you what? The food also give you the number of container. Here, the number of container is actually 2, all right? So the serving size is 1 cup, 228 grams, all right? So you have to be very careful when you look at this, all right? What does it mean? What does it mean? It means that if, for example, one serving size here is what? 228 grams, all right? This is what you eat for one serving size. But in the container, we have 2, right? So this food has 2 elements here. This is serving size number 1, and this is serving size number 2. Okay? So if we say one serving size, okay? One serving size, we talk about sugar. If one serving size is, for example, 25 grams of sugar, but if you eat only one serving size, no problem. But if you eat the whole food, it means that you ate 2 by 25, it means you ate 50 grams of sugar. I hope you understand this. Very, very important. Number 1, serving size. And number 2, containers. How many do I have inside? Okay? So in this case, let me go back. So in this case here, if you look at our food label, serving size 228 grams, okay? It's what? It's macaroni and cheese, okay? It is our macaroni and cheese. So I take my calculator here. So if you have 228, you multiply by 2, then you are eating 456 grams of macaroni and cheese. All right? That's what you have to understand. Number 2, you need to check the calories. Calories here is what? 250 calories. Let's be careful here. So we have, they say this is total energy in the box. Now, calories from fat is 110. Always check calories from fat. Why? We know that fat, especially saturated fat and trans fat, are associated with cardiovascular disease. So people who are taking the class Food and Health with me, we're going to be studying cardiovascular disease and the association with fat, saturated fat. And when we go to that class, always remember the dietary reference index. So you check that this is the total energy. Energy from fat is 110. So my friends, let's have a little bit of fun here. Do 110 divide by 250, you multiply by 100. So fat alone is about 44% 44% of your total energy. This total food fat is representing around 44% of it. Now, number three, it tells you limit this nutrient. In yellow, you don't need to eat a lot of fat, cholesterol, and sodium. And what did I say? I told you I'm going to also focus on sodium. Okay? And we talk about daily value for sodium and dietary reference intake for sodium. It is different. Okay? So, number 4, it tells you get enough of this nutrient. They want you to eat a lot of vitamin, a lot of calcium, a lot of iron. Once again here, okay, we're going to look at these important nutrients, like I told you. I look at sodium and I look at calcium and iron. Calcium for the bones, children growth. Iron, we focus on what? Iron deficiency anemia. All right? And then you have the footnotes here. This is telling you what? In class, I told you that we eat around 2,000 kilocalories, around 2,000. But there are people who may need to eat more. So here we have 2,000, but here we have 2,500. Okay? So you will see that if we talk about fat, daily value for fat is 65 grams. This is for 2,000 kilocalories. But daily value for somebody who's eating 2,500 kilocalories, his daily value is different. His daily value here, which number do we have, is 80 grams. Okay? So once again, in Food and Nutrition English 1, we saw the basic. Now, we have to be really, really careful. When you calculate how much energy the person is eating every day, the person is eating an average of 2,500 kilocalories because he's an athlete and doing certain things. So therefore, daily value for fat is going to be different. Again, don't worry. We're going to have an online class again where we will do the examples together. Okay. So now let's talk about this. And this is where a lot of people had problems last semester. Okay. This time I would like to talk about percentage daily value. Percentage daily value. What is it? So here, for example, let me go back here. Let's take the example of fat. We've been talking about fat, right? We have fat here. Okay. What's up in our screen? So we have fat here. Fat is around 12 grams. Remember, daily value is how much you are eating. One serving size. So all these value, everything you see here is for one serving. Please remember that. Everything that you see there is for one serving, okay? Even though you're going to see you're going to see this number of containers. All right. So now percentage daily value, how does it work? Let me stop the sharing here and I'm going to open another page. All right. So I'll go here. Let me just open a clean one. So percentage daily value. It's very simple. From that food label, the person ate 12 grams of fat. Okay? But what is the daily value for fat? Okay, I send you the paper that I asked you to download. All right? On that paper, you have the fat daily value here. So the fat daily value is what? The daily value, I'm not sure what is happening here. The daily value for fat is 65 grams. So what you just do is 12 grams divided by 65 grams and you multiply by 100. Okay? So when you do it, let's do it together quickly. So I do 12 divided by 65. Okay, I multiply by 100. So I have 18.46%. But again here, you're not going to see 5.6%, 12.8%. We just take rounded numbers. And this is below 5, so we're going to put here 18%. This is why you have 18%. Okay? So it's important that you know how to calculate the daily value. Again, if you don't understand how to calculate it, don't worry. You can send me a message, and I'll show you again until we meet face to face. So the daily value here, for example, we talk about sodium. We talk about sodium is 470 milligram. So you do 470 milligram divided by 2,400. All right. So and then you get your daily value for sodium. So I do 470 divided by 2,400. All right. Okay. I multiply by 100. So I have 19.58. So 19.58 is 20%. I wrote 2% here, 20%. Okay. So this is the way you calculate your daily value. All right. Now let's look at these other ones too. Very important information. The next question is 20%, 18%, 15%. Is it okay or not okay? All right. So we say that if it's less than 5%, this is too low. All right. But if it's over 20% or more, is too high. So our good value, we want our daily value, all right? We want our daily value to be between 5% and 20%. Not daily value, percentage daily value. All right? Percentage daily value. All right? So now, let's go to the next page. This is the part that is often interesting. As you can see, what do we see here? You're going to see here something interesting. We talk about trans fat. we talk about protein and sugar, trans fat, sugar, and protein. If you look at trans fat, we have 3 grams, but there is no percentage daily value. All right. So basically, what we learn is we don't have the percentage daily value because the scientific committee is not able to determine how much trans fat the people can eat. All right. But what we say is to reduce or not have any trans fat, because trans fat is associated with cardiovascular disease, with heart disease. All right. So in general, if we say, for example, total energy is maybe, as usual, we talk about 2,000 kilocalories. Okay. So if you want to talk about saturated fat out of your 2,000 kilocalories, we said maximum 7%. And when we come to trans fat, you want it below 1%. Okay, below 1%. Let me just write it better here. We want it below 1% because we don't really have any accurate number that the scientists determine. Okay. How about sugar? Okay. How about sugar here? We have sugar here, 5 grams, but no percentage daily value. Why? You have to remember that when we say sugar here, we talk about all kinds of sugar, natural sugar, and added sugar. So in sugar here, what is the challenge? Okay, the challenge is when we write sugar, we have all types of sugars, right? Okay, we have all types here, so we can have natural, right? We can have natural sugars, or we can have added sugars. Okay, so what can we do? So what is the solution? Let's go to the next page. All right. So what do is we help people to make the best choice. For example, here we have plain yogurt, right? In this case, we have plain yogurt here, and we have fruit yogurt. So what do? You look at sugar here is 10 grams, and sugar here 44 grams. So what shall you do? You need to go to the ingredient list of the two, the ingredient list of the two the two materials. So we have the ingredient list here, Here you have culture pasteurized grade A, not fat milk, whey protein, concentrated pectin. Here you don't see any sugar here. All right, so this food has mainly natural sugar. But if I come here, what do I see here? I see high fructose corn syrup here. This is added sugar, all right? This is added sugar. So in food label, when you do shopping for sugar, for example, your yogurt, you will say, okay, this one is going to be better because this is like all natural sugar. And here we have high fructose corn syrup. So this is why you're not going to see, when you look at the food label, you're not going to see sugar. You're not going to see daily value for sugar. All right. So again, we're doing the online thing, and on the next class, we'll do the review in a live setting. Now, let's talk about the last one here, calcium. Daily value for calcium is 1,000 milligram. Okay? But what do we see? We see here 30%. Look at your notes. I'm just going to highlight it. You see here 30%. Okay? What does it mean? So if he said 30%, if he says 30%, what it means is you do 30 divided by 100. This is your 30%. But it's 30% of the daily value. Okay? So how much calcium did I eat? How much calcium did I eat? If you want to know how much calcium did you eat, because daily value is how much you ate. Daily value is how much you ate. So here you just multiply by 1,000 milligram. The 1,000 milligram is the daily value. So what is the answer? The answer is 300 milligrams. This food per serving size per container is only 1. This food only has 300 milligram of calcium. But if you are an adolescent, a teenager, the teenager is growing, you need more calcium. You need, what is the daily value for teenagers? You need 1,300 milligram. We talk about dietary reference intake, not daily value. Daily value is 1,000 milligrams. But how much do you need? How much do you need? You need 1,300 milligram if you are a teenager. So, but this teenager only got 300 milligram. It's a problem. So how much of this food, or how much, if he has to eat only this food, how much does he need? You will need 1,300 milligram divided by 300, all right? So you can do the math with me here. So 1,300, okay, divide by 300, okay? So we said 4.3, all right? So you will need at least minimum 4 containers. Here we have 1, so you will need a minimum of 4. So if I ask you this question on the exam, the teenager is going to need 4 to 5 serving size per container. Is going to need 4 to 5 containers of this food. Okay? So be very, 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 very careful with this. It's the same calculation we can do with iron. How much iron this vegetarian woman needs? How much of this food does she need to eat to have enough iron supplement? All right? Okay. I know I went a little bit fast for this chapter, but you don't really need to worry that much. We're going to do this case study 1, and we're going to have a case study 2. We're going to read these food labels together. So what I would like to do, instead of going through this case study now, you guys don't have these slides, okay? we're going to be doing these examples together on the next class live. But let me show you already what we have and some of the problems that we encounter. All right. So for example, like I told you, this is a mustard, right? So moutarde de Dijon. So it's a mustard. So we know the name. And you can also look at here and you have the quantity, 200 grams. But what is the, and then on the back, you're going to have, of course, the ingredients here. But what is the problem with this? The problem with this is we don't have the nutrients that are inside. We don't have the daily value. Remember, it's a processed food, so we need to know. It's a processed food, we need to know. Now, the second food, another food we're going to study in details is going to be this mackerel boil. I'm very happy because they have the nutrition facts label here in English, okay? So the first thing that you look at the name, and then they will also give you here the quantity, okay? They give you here the quantity, and it's about 400 grams. So we have 400 grams of this food, around 460 kilo calories. And they say that the fish is about 65% of it. So, and we will look on the next class the details of the nutrition label, and we will see if this food has a problem or not. In the first class, Food and Nutrition English, like I told you, I only gave you the basis. Now, in this class, we need to go into the details. We need to now examine the food that we eat. Okay? Now we need to look at it. And now, a very good food that I like, we have this quick oatmeal as well. Again, they give you specifications. A very important one that they give you here, they say that is a good source of fibers. And what they put here is that it's 100% whole grains. The whole grains, we studied them last semester, the three parts of the grain. So we have refined grains like white rice, and we have the whole grain like the brown rice that we have. And last semester, we say that the whole grain usually has all the nutrients. So very good. Again, we also have our nutrition facts here. So we're going to investigate these nutrition facts, and then we will also see what we can do, for example, with this, when we talk about, for example, the vegetarian or people who need iron, is it sufficient for them? How much of it can they eat? And so these are the two food that I have. We're going to be investigating these two foods on the next class. So my friends, what I would like you to do, number one, read the whole PPT again. It is not difficult. Don't be scared. I know I'm not in class. Just go through the PPT again and watch the video. Even if I went fast, watch the video again, and take the notes and write down your questions. In the next class, I will start by answering questions, all right? So please, on the next class, number 2, come with questions. You put your video and microphone on, you ask me the questions before I start teaching. Ask me the questions, all right? So, or you can write the question on the chat room. That will be nice as well. That's the second thing. And then on the third, I will explain and close the chapter on that. And the fourth thing you need to do is the study guide. Okay, everybody has the study guide. So this study guide is an exercise on the nutrition facts level. So you're going to have to do it. It's very important that you do that exercise because it will look like the exam we're going to have. Okay, okay. So I'm going to stop. I'm going to stop the class now, and I will see you on the next class. This time is going to be live. I will not be recording. It will be live, and we go from there. So I hope you have a good day, and I will see you next time. Bye bye.